So how to read somebody else's temp table contents. I can't remember where I initially saw the question, if it was like Stack Overflow or DBA.Stack Exchange or somebody's blog post going, I want to be able to read other people's TempDB contents. Howdy, Arthur. And the short answer is no, you can't do it. But the real answer is yes, you can kind of do it with statistics. You'll be recording the session or moderating the session. Very cool. With statistics, what you can do is spy on other table statistics, even if you don't own the table. Even if you don't have permissions to see the table, you can still pull the statistics for it. So I needed to beat you in something. So to do that, what I need to do is I need to explain, I saw you doing like smoking this morning, and I saw the pictures out on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah, that is an all-day kind of affair. Looked good. It looked very good. So to do it, I'm going to write the blog post live. Sometimes I only do the demos for y'all, like we craft the demos together. Here today, I'm actually going to write the whole blog post live, doing the demos and screenshots and all that start to finish. So let's go get started with that. So first, what I need to do is I need to go create a temp table. So I'm going to create a temp table. I'll say create table secret plans. And we'll put in there, well here, we'll zoom in a little too so y'all can see it a little better. Secret plans, phase, int, task, varchar 50, insert into secret plans, phase, task, values 1, collect underpants, those of you who know that joke, 2, to be determined, and then 3. No, I can't make that. I can't make a joke in on that. Like there's nothing funny about that. So that for those of you who don't know, the star of Black Panther died, I want to say overnight, over colon cancer after fighting a battle for 4 years. Wow, it's impressive. Profit. And so here now we've got that, select star from secret plans. So here I've got a temp table and I put a few rows into it. And if I want to read it from another session, if it's a regular temp table, like with just one £, if it's just a regular temp table, I can't hop over into another window and say select star from secret plans. If I try that, I get invalid object name. Okay, that's fair. It's someone else's temp table. Well, next thing that we'll go try is we'll try to go switch over to the others. Sorry, I was going to say switch over to another session. Switch to TempDB. So I could say use TempDB, go, select star from sys all objects. And then if I look in at all objects, it shows me that there's a user table and that what its secret plans is the name of it. When SQL Server builds temp tables, the little number at the end of that is the number of the temp table that you've created. Like the first temp table will have under 1, second will be under 2, and so forth. Not of the same table, but just as you continuously create any temp table, that little incrementer goes up by 1 each time. Setting aside reusable temp tables. So like Paul White's series on reusable temp tables is pretty cool. So can I get access to that? Let's try copy pasting that. Let's copy that. And then let's say, what happens if I fully qualify it? Select star from, boom. Like, can I use that exact same table name? And of course, the thing wraps around. There's the very end of it. Let's see what happens when I go to do that. And then execute. Sammy, yes, it's reset on SQL Server, on the instance restart. Not necessarily the Windows OS restart, but just even a SQL Server instance restart resets that. So useless trivia, right, with Brent Tune. So that doesn't work. I'm not able to directly query someone else's temp table, and I can't do it even if I put in a prefix like DBO, because it's not really DBO owned. If I try that same thing, no go. If I try to put brackets around it, I also get a no go. Okay, so first you think, all right, I give up. I can't read someone else's temp table contents. But temp tables can have statistics. And statistics, of course, can include the temp table's contents. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go find out the stats name. Normally when you use commands like dbcc show statistics, you pass in the table name and the statistic name. I don't know if there are any statistics on here. I'm going to have to go spelunking through SQL Server's diagnostic views in order to find out. Oh, the semicolon was in brackets. Yep, sure. Good point there, Roger or Holger. I'll go do that. See, you get the same thing. Invalid object name. Okay, so I need to find the stats. So if I say select star from sysstats and execute that, there are stats in here. I don't know the object ID, but I can go get that. Object ID would be for the table or indexed view that we're looking for. So let's write our query a little bit more rigorously. Oopsie. Let's say from sys all objects. Sukhvir, how is what useful? Can you be more specific? Inner join. Actually, we'll do a left outer join. Outer joins. Object ID equals S object ID. Where O name equals, and so we're going to paste in our big ginormous, whoopsie, paste in our big ginormous table name. Let's go get that. Copy, paste. So I'm doing a select star. Whoops, I got to do an on. Yep, good Andy, good to see you. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well as can be in these times. So I've got some results here, but then all of a sudden I get nulls out over here. So Jennifer, that's kind of outside the scope of what we're talking about here. XP, I'm not even sure what you're talking about with XP. Let's hold off on that. So here, let's reading someone else's temp table. How is this useful? In case you need to read someone else's temp table. So in case you need to do query troubleshooting is the classic one. This is how I've run into it in the past when I need to see what a session is doing so that I can figure out why things are going wrong. So here, there's stuff that's coming out as all nulls. What is it that's coming out as all nulls? Let's see if that's the statistics and go execute that. Yep, that's it. So there are no statistics yet on this object. Now that kind of makes sense because when I wrote my original query, you can read the channel's description to see what I'm doing today there. So when I did my original query, I didn't do anything in the query that triggered SQL Server to go build automatic stats on the table. I did a select, but I didn't have a where clause. So if I'll go in, no, Ekibet, I'm not going to do that. And in fact, I'm going to block you from doing further chats. Just so that you don't go too far off topic there. I'm not here to serve you as much as it might look like I am waiting on you hand and foot. I am just a digital avatar. I am not really here to do your bidding. You are not the only person watching this stream, even though it's also my mom. My mom is here. I say that. She might not actually be here this morning. Sometimes she is. Sometimes she's not. So I didn't do anything that caused SQL Server to build statistics on this. It's a miracle that anyone ever comes twice, isn't it? It's a miracle that people ever come to this stream twice. So I didn't do anything that would cause SQL Server to build statistics. So let's go do that. Select star from secret plans. Now everybody's scared to ask questions, which is probably true. Where phase equals, well, here we'll go where task. I hate, you hate yourself. I don't blame, yeah, you're a glutton for punishment. Like, Trunk Code says I'm a bit of an acquired taste. Kind of like espresso. It tastes terrible the first 10 times you have it, and then it's addicting. So if I can just get people to stay for 10 sessions, then they'll probably stick around. Where task equals profit. So if I go through, that's true. I put the lippy in Clippy. I still love that line. I just can't believe that I hadn't used that years ago. I put the lippy in Clippy. So what I'm doing here is I'm running a query that's going to cause SQL Server to have to stop and guess how many rows have profit as their task. When I do this, this is going to trigger SQL Server to build statistics on the task column. So let's go through and do it. I'll execute this query. Now I'm going to switch back over here and I'm going to run my select stats query again. 3, 2, 1, execute. Ah! And now all of a sudden, that's absolutely true too. And champagne for me as well. Now all of a sudden I have statistics on here. And if I have statistics, I can read them. One way, oh, good to see you, Gaumbunga. One way that I could read them is the command dbcc show statistics. That's how my grandfather taught me in order to read stuff out. And it's true, it works, but this is the year 2020, and we should probably be a little bit more modern when we go and write blog posts and demos. So instead of Grandpa's way, I'm going to say, take this same exact query, and I'm going to say left outer join sys histogram. Now there's this brand new dynamic management function, dmdb stats histogram, and that I can pass in the object ID and stats ID. Your next question is going to be, when did this come out? And which, oh, it's also not a left outer join, it's a cross apply because it's a function. Cross apply. Oh, Jonathan, that's interesting. I don't know that. That's a really tricky question. I don't know if I could force a create for stats. That's kind of tricky. That's a great follow-up question, too. So this histogram, I have to pass in, thank you, IntelliSense, the object ID and the stats ID. Well, I can get those from the two above objects. So I can say O object ID, S stats ID. And now, now I don't really want the info from the stat. What I really want is the info from the histogram. Let me go put in a prefix for that or an alias for that. We'll call it hist. And then I'll get hist star and run it again. And dun, 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 dun. That is how you read the contents of someone else's temp table when they have statistics on it. So the next thing that readers are going to want to do is, okay, cool, let me go look and see what's going on my server. But if you were going to just run this query, you would have to know what the name of the temp table is. And I know my readers are entirely too lazy and unambitious in order to go figure that out. So I need to give them another query that will just loop through all of the objects inside TempDB and show you the statistics for all of them. So let's write that next. What we'll do is we'll take that exact same query. Let's come down a little. And now this time I'm going to give them, say, for example, O name. Now, I don't know yet. We're going to have to think about that one. Name. Thanks. Glad you like it. O name. I don't need that twice. As temp table name. And I'm probably going to want to, I don't know that I want to keep the whole entire thing in there because it's going to be extremely long, but let's see how. I should get a Netflix special. Netflix and pill. Jack, that's not really related to this, so I'm going to hold off on that. When I do open questions and answers, then you can ask it then. Otherwise, it's kind of like right now me asking you what you're wearing. And I know you would love to tell me. I'm not really interested. Hist star. Now, instead of saying where O name equals secret plans, I want to filter this for just temp tables. So I'm going to say select star from sys all objects and execute. The things that I'm probably interested in are user tables. I'm probably only interested in seeing statistics on user tables, so let's filter for, instead of filtering by object name, let's filter for where type description equals user table. I could also filter by just type. Type is like a shorter version of that. It's just that I like being kind of clear and explanatory when people are reading my code. I'm only saying that on a stream. Anyone who's ever read my real code knows better than that. The hell are all these one-letter aliases? So now we have, ooh, I love it. So now we have a list of all of the temp tables and these statistics. Elvish says, does this work for table variables? No, because there are no statistics. Very good on you for catching that there are no statistics on those. That's good. Most people don't get that, so you're above average, even despite the Elvish kind of title on there. I don't know if Elvish Fiend means that you're a fiend, but you act Elvish, or Elvish means that you're of the species elf and you are also a fiend. That's an interesting question. If you're short of stature or you just feel short of stature. So we're getting closer. I don't have an order by in here, and the other thing that's kind of tricky is I don't know what column this is. I know what the contents are. I don't know what the column is. Ah, okay. There's a good wordplay joke in there, and I can't quite make it work. I had an AC phase, and it... right, exactly. That's what I was thinking. That's what it could be. Genuine fiend only acts elfish. That's what I thought it was. Or at least it read that way at first. So now I really would love to tell them what column the stat is on. So to do that, let's look at select star from sys_stats. I love just using autocomplete because it gives you a quick idea of what's available to us to go query in SQL Server. And I bet what we're going to find is stats columns. So stats columns, if we join out to that, that's normally information schema is one of my favorite go-tos as well, but stats columns. Let's go see what's inside here. Drow. Okay, so now we have the stats ID and the stats column ID. So let's go get that. Left outer join. Now, Cranky says, will this work for a large number of rows? For those of you who are statistics pros, you may remember that statistics only have a maximum of 200 steps. Often I'll find even when there are less than 200 rows, you won't get 200 steps in the histogram because SQL Server doesn't need all 200 steps to accurately portray your data. But that's such a good question that I want to capture that for the blog post. So I'm going to make a note over here. Cranky old mustard says third, because I think you have the, yeah, perfect. Number of steps in histogram, large tables. So there we go. So it's okay, Sukhvir. You know, it's someday system utilities will work for you as well for you as they do for me. That's a vicious lie. They don't work for me very often either. I just got really lucky. So left outer join sys_stats columns. C on O object ID equals O. Who wrote that? O object ID equals C object ID, and S stats ID equals C stats ID. So this is going to give us the column of the table, and if I go C star Hist star, and then, no, Postgres is a totally different product, totally, completely different. So this now gets me the column ID, but I don't know what column it is. So now I got to join out to something else in order to get what the name of that column is, because my readers are surely not bright enough to know what column is in each table, especially for things like temp tables that are constantly getting created and dropped. So now we got to go through and join out to get the columns. Let's see, left outer join. Are these, at this point, these could probably kind of be inners. Well, this will show me if there's a temp table with no stats. Left outer join sys all columns. We'll call this SC then. SC, and C. Is it valid in any SQL version and flavor? No, only in SQL Server Chocolate Edition. Only in Chocolate Edition. Do you need to check individual stats where the new function is not available? Those of you who are running Antiques Roadshow versions of SQL Server, I don't give a rip about you. You're dead to me. That's not true. I don't have a lot of viewers. I care passionately about you. But you're welcome to do it another way with like DBCC show statistics. Me, however, I'm in the future. This is the year 2020, so I'm using SQL Server 2019 because that's all that's available. If there was 2020 available, I'd probably use that. C on, I don't know what's in sysall columns. Let's go take a look. So SQL select star from sysall columns and see what we get inside there. It looks like we have object ID and column ID. The future is now. There's a RoboCop joke in there somewhere too. Object ID equals C, object ID, and SC column ID equals O column ID. So now at least I know what the column names are. So let's go get, it is C name, C column ID. I don't know that I'm not going to bother with joining out to types to show what kind of column it is, like if it's an integer or whatever. What about SQL Azure? That's future looking. Yeah, okay, good luck to you. Then let's see here. So I think that gives me everything that I want. I do need an order by. Order by, I'm going to be a terrible person. No, I won't. O name, Dinesh. Dinesh, that's 15 years old. That went out of support like 10 years ago. Dinesh, do you need a hug? I bet you need a hug. I bet you came here looking for friends. Dinesh, we love you. We hope the best for you. That's rare that I am nice on a stream, but there you go. I really do feel for you. Column ID. F is the appropriate reaction there. He came to dry his tears. There you go. Invalid column ID. Oh, it's over there. Oh, it's not O column ID, you moron. It's C column ID. There we go. So then let's go through and execute that. All right, cool. So now we have, what? Oh, okay, so it's doing the Blitz cache procs, which is a global temp stored procedure. There we go, and there's our secret plans. So secret plans and the task. It is kind of actually interesting. It is kind of actually interesting that it shows the global temp table version, so that's kind of cool. So this achieves my objectives. Oh, this gives me everything that I want for the post. So now that you've seen the demo, let's go write the blog post. And this is usually the way that I go and write blog posts, is I will go write the demo scripts out that I want first, and then I'll switch gears and go back and write the blog post. Because often whenever I'm doing the demos, I run across something that I wasn't expecting to write about, or I go, you know what, that's not really the best point for this blog post. Like that I learned something else and I go, I should really blog about this instead. It's probably a good time to take a quick break and thank our sponsor for the week. So my sponsor for this week is Quest Software, and they put together an ebook for query tuning advice. You can go get that for free over at brentozar.com/go/optimize. In blanky, I like your, or just plain text. Just put it in like a Word document and hire a bunch of college interns to go find the stuff that you want. IOStream, I am going to block you. That is not okay to spam other people's streams. Thank you. All right. So Quest Software at brentozar.com/go/optimize. Now I'm going to go write the blog post. Now to write the blog post, normally I kind of do it inside of a VM. I do everything inside the VM and I use the Windows screenshot tool and all that crap. I don't have the everything set up right quite that way to do that in this VM that I'm using. I'm using a VM from our mastering query tuning classes. So it's going to look a little bit kludgy as I go back and forth and I write this thing. So for me to write it, let me go grab another VM real quick. Let me go grab a VM or go grab another window, move my browser around and say, move this over here. Just a second. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Move this over here. And there we go. So now let's come back over here. So now I got a browser here where I'm going to go through and write my blog post. I'm going to go fire open brentozar.com. Yeah, I use Doctor inside a virtual machine for maximum sadness. Posts, and I think I had it started it over on another window. Let me go close that window. Whoops, okay, so save that draft just so that I've got it, and then close it. Come on through, close that little guy and minimize him, and we'll come back over. That's not the key that I wanted to hit. So let's see here. The new one that I'm doing is how to read someone else's temp table contents. There we go. And now, so let's say, so now is when I get to put in the justification as to why we're doing this whole hot mess. So let's say you need to troubleshoot someone's query performance and they're using temp tables. You want to peek in at their temp table contents from another session while their query is running. SQL Server makes that a little bit challenging. Gaunt realities, maybe you should shut up and read. I'm literally telling you out loud. Pay attention. So in here, the SQL Server makes that a little bit challenging. Let's start by creating a temp table in one window of SSMS. Then let's go switch over to my remote desktop, and we'll go back over to our original demo over here and copy, come back over here, and that's not where I wanted to go at all. I wanted to come over here. There we go. So I use a little code highlighting tool inside of WordPress. There we go. So then open another tab in SSMS, meaning another session, and try to read the contents of that temp table, of that other session's temp table. All right, there that goes, and then we'll come back over here. We'll do a screenshot of this little fella and come back up here, select star from secret plans, and we'll show the error that we get. I'll fire up a little screenshot here, and there's that. And King Julian says, do you use Restream? Yes. Brent, are you not affiliated yet? No, I don't want to be a Twitch affiliate or partner. I actually dropped out of those programs because you can't live stream to both YouTube and Facebook at the same time. And I'd rather help as many people as I can. So select from temp table. Now let's drag that into our blog post. And I don't want to center it. Let's set the right session settings on here. Link to the media file. Insert into the post. Invalid object name. Sad trombone. What if we try to... sad trombone. Let's try another trick. Let's use the system tables to get the full exact name of the temp table. Whenever you create a temp table, SQL Server actually creates it with a unique name suffixed with the hex equivalent of the number of temp tables that have been created since the last SQL Server instance restart. I appreciate that. I used to make money on it, but it's just one of those where I'd rather do the evangelizing to the public, to teach more people, reach more people quickly. So since the last instance restart, so let's go. Now let's pull the query that we were using to get that. and run that little fella. Grab a screenshot of that. And and there that goes. You're welcome. Thanks, Lee. Okay, so there is get object name. Let's pull back over to the blog and drag and paste that image in. And there we go. Insert into post. Armed with that table name. You know, great. That's an interesting question. So I love how Pinal Dave constantly posts interview questions. At the same time, it kind of feels like some of them are Trivial Pursuit. You know, it's like I wouldn't expect if I had a full-time database administrator who was sitting around trying to read other people's job content or temp table contents. Like I don't want to guarantee because there are some smart people inside this audience. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Daniel Hutmacher. But there are some smart people inside this audience who may have tried this before, but I would like guarantee that 99.9% of the audience has never tried this before. And I would guess that because someone had that stack or DBA exchange question, and people are like, no, it can't be done. And I'm like, oh, yes, it can. So even when smart people that I respect said it couldn't be done, I'm like, it's not entirely true. If I want to violate HIPAA or PCI or SOX requirements, I can totally do that because SQL Server is not nearly as strong as it thinks it is. Armed with that table name, let's now try querying it by fully prefixing, or by using the super secret full object name. And then we'll throw that into the blog post just to prove we can't do that either the old way. Don't tell me what I can't do. Execute. And I'm going to do enters in here just for the screenshot's sake. That's not what I wanted to do. Where's my screenshot key? That's not my screenshot key. And then and now, okay, and do this too. Execute, just so that people see that it's not about the object prefix. Copy that too. There we go. And come back over to the blog post and drag you in. Select attempt 1, 2. So here's select attempt 1. And come in, insert into the post. It's not a matter of not fully monitoring. I heard about that. Somebody else, one of my customers, like I totally respect SentryOne, but any time that any monitoring vendor tries to capture something new, we run into problems like that. So I totally get it. You can just never believe what kind of crazy stuff people are doing out in the field. It's not a matter of not fully qualifying the schema either because it's not in the DBO schema. And somebody out there, some rocket surgeon reader is going to say, well, why didn't you try querying what the schema was? And I'm going to be like, why didn't you try querying what the schema was? I don't know, you're not my real dad. This would be where normal people give up. But you know how I am, dear reader, not normal. Let's save this draft here. So now, then comes the next thing. Now let's tell the tale of statistics. So, because I like putting in headers every now and then so people understand where I'm going. Let's try reading the contents of let's try reading the temp table statistics. Like any table, SQL Server, I don't want to say any table because table variables, somebody's going to say. Like tables in user databases, SQL Server will automatically create, it's true. David Letterman used to have a gag where he would say, and you're right, this is a brand new microphone. I shipped this back to DPA because the ear set was broken, and they shipped me back a new one. And when they shipped it to me, DPA, the company that makes these microphones, sends them left ear. And I flipped mine around last time to make it right ear, which is real easy to do. But this time around, I was like, you know what? I constantly turn to this microphone over here, or this camera over here. Why don't I just leave it in the left side so it's not so obvious? So it kind of worked out well. The David Letterman gag. David Letterman used to say, folks, if you're like me, and I have a feeling you're not, and I always laughed at that. I used to be easily amused. I'm still easily amused. Do I want to include the select star? Why wouldn't I? Well, seriously, why wouldn't I? Okay, so I have this problem with people who have a problem with select star. What do you think? It has a performance overhead when I'm bringing back a table with no rows? Like it's not producing any data. What's the matter with doing a select star? You people are why I drink. So just ease up on the rabid, oh, select star, oh, triggers, oh, cursors. The more you just are flexible and open to things, you'd be surprised where it's really not that big of a deal. God, he's talking about the second query. What second query? This other thing in here. Okay, cool. So Terry, just be more specific. We got a lot going on here. Terry, I appreciate you. You're a good person. But just maybe try and just give me a little bit more info when you go and yell out things from the peanut gallery. Let's see here. I get the feeling that would be a lot of people pressing one, Jesus. Then again, maybe not. See, I don't criticize folks nearly as much in my paid training because they paid. It's not because they're smarter. It's because they paid. So let's come back over here and put that select star in. And I'm also going to select 2B. Oh, it's your first time in the peanut gallery. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see here. Let's drag this in. And we'll say insert in. Actually, I'm going to put in the caption. Shout out to Terry Stoneberg for improving this screenshot. And then insert. There we go. So this would be normal people. Okay, cool. Let's try reading the temp table statistics. Like tables in user databases, SQL Server will automatically create statistics on the columns when it needs to make decisions, about the number of rows that will match filters on that column. Let's take a peek in TempDB. Cheers, Angel. To drunk God, I just now caught that painted for like my drag queen customers that they paint their faces. I'm a huge fan of Trixie and Katja. Let's take a peek in TempDB to see if any statistics exist on that temp table. And put this back. Back to work. It's Saturday. It's the Sabbath. You're not supposed to be working. Don't ask me why I'm working. I'm not really working. I'm kind of giving back to the community, although kind of not. So let's see here. Let's run this query. And then, sysadmin life. Yeah, no, I feel you there. I'll drink in your honor later. Shoot. Okay, so I got to recreate the statistic now I got to recreate the temp table because the statistic is created. That'll break my storytelling. I can't have that. So let's go drop that temp table. Drop table, secret plans. And then let's go back and recreate it and do the select. Now let's come back over. Now, this is going to be a fun moment. So what just happened was we could copy paste that and frame it, and it's pretty much true 24/7. So what I'm about to see, and I really don't know, and I'm curious to see what happens, is I dropped the temp table and I recreated it. SQL Server will cache temp tables though, and it'll even cache temp table statistics, which is kind of awesome. Except when you don't want it to happen, like right now. So I'm really curious, when I go and run this select, did SQL Server keep the same temp table name and did it keep the same temp table statistics? So let's go find out. It dropped the statistics. Now what I don't know either though is, did the temp table name change? Because it's entirely possible that the temp table name changed as well. So I'm going to say we're name like secret plans, just to make that a little bit easier on the screenshot too. Okay, perfect. So we'll say select O name, execute. All right, so now we have a little screenshot that shows that there are no rows for sysstats. That's beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Copy that out and paste that. And let's save this as a work in progress, just in case all hell breaks loose and I lose something. So let's take a see if any statistics exist on that temp table. No statistics. Let's copy that in. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the timer because at 15 minutes in, or 15 minutes from now, right at the top of the hour, I need to go switch over to GoToWebinar and prep for the Watch Brent Tune Queries. So I'll see if I actually get finished with this blog post or not. We'll find out. Drats. The person who's created, or the session, that temp table doesn't have statistics yet. This is the first weakness in this blog post strategy, to read someone else's temp table contents. You're only going to get statistics when folks have queried specific columns. Let's trigger that by going back into the original session that created the temp table and running a query that will trigger automatic stats creation on one of the columns. Excuse me. All right, let's go back over there. Come back over here and copy. Or actually, here, we'll just run it. So there we go. Done. Step 3. And come back over here. And put you into there. And insert. Now go back over to the window where we were diagnosing statistics and check again. And come back over here. And now let's check again. Run the exact same thing. What? I'm sure that has something to do with execution plan contents, and I am too not going in. Yep, Dinesh, we already covered that. And what you can do is go ahead and close your browser now, and then when we're done with the stream, you can go back and watch from the beginning so that you don't continue to ask and talk about things that we have already covered. Thank you. So let's see here. So now we got that. I know I'm a butthole, but you would be too if you were doing this kind of thing in public and people kept doing the same damn thing. So now let's see here, statistics on temp table, and then come back over here. And off you go. Voila. Now, armed with a few more filters or few more joins, we can see the contents of that temp table statistics. And Richie. So let's copy that, and let's say that. And let's see there. Execute. Beautiful. And now let's give them the beautiful conclusion query. We're going to just copy paste that in here in a second. So then let's take a screenshot of that guy. And there we go. Then we will give that. Oh, I should finish with a semicolon because I'm a good person only on TV. I'm not even really a good person on TV. Here's the query if you want to look at what's happening right now in your own TempDB. Paste that into there. Paste. Add. And then, oh, I should do one more filter in that. I should do step number, column ID, stats ID, or Hist stats ID, Hist stats ID, Hist step number. All right, there we go. And then that's in there, execute, just so that I can give that to the full query to them, and go paste that in there, and paste and save. And then let's get the screenshot out, statistics, contents, and drag that in over there, and insert into the post. Okay. And we should put a caption in on there. Voila, or presto, we see the secret plans. Oh, that it actually needs to go down there. That's fine. Okay, there we go. Limitations of this technique. And let's go put a header on there. As in the live stream, Cranial Master pointed out, reminded us, okay, let's get in here, reminded us that statistics only have a max of 201 steps in the histogram, and even then we may not get in period. So we won't see all the data. So we won't see all of the data on real life sized tables. In addition, even if there are under 200 rows, SQL Server may not use all 201 steps in the histogram because it may not be necessary in order to paint a great picture. Kishore, if you're talking about your glasses, I would agree. It's time to wipe the Vaseline off so that you can follow along in order to paint a great picture of our table's contents. In addition, as Paul White has so lovingly blogged, temp tables and their statistics can be reused from one session to another. Because of that, you wouldn't want to say that one specific user's query activity has produced the statistics that you're seeing in these queries. However, this diagnostic query. However, that's actually a good thing. This diagnostic query can show you when someone's session is running with temp table statistics that may not match up with their current workload. Now let's go get that blog post from Paul White. Paul White, temp table reuse. He's got a couple of them. I think this SQL performance. Let's try. I think it's this one. Yep. That's perfect. Copy. And temp tables and statistics can be reused. Paste. There's another relevant. Actually, I'll just stop it there. So set featured image. And there we go, set featured image. I was going to say I could go on and talk about something else too as well, but I love it. That is perfect. Ship it. Oh. Whew. All right, that is perfect. It's not perfect, but like in terms of what I can pull off in 1 hour, that's 600 words, and it's a pretty good indication of when you see someone's blog post, it's like 500 to 1,000 words long. With technical content like T-SQL, screenshots, etc., an hour is like the bare minimum starting point for writing something like that. Like I knew going in, I had it in my list of ideas for a while of what I wanted to blog about. I knew that was something that I wanted to hit. I knew what the content was. Like I kind of knew where I was going down on that route. Beautiful. I'm happy with that. And of course, people are going to pick problems with it. That's just the way it is whenever you write anything. Let's stop here for a second and give one more shout out to our sponsor. So our sponsor for this week is Quest Software. They've written a totally free query tuning book. You can go get that over at brentozar.com/go/optimize. It's got a bunch of tips on how to do query tuning, index tuning, and make you smarter because Lord knows you and I both need it. We'll stop here. We're going to take a short bio break. I say short, but realistically, my session at SQL Saturday Oslo starts at a quarter after the hour, starts at 15 minutes after the hour, and I'm going to have to hop into GoToWebinar. So what you're really going to hear is like behind the scenes of me going into GoToWebinar to get set to watch. Things may explode and go haywire. I may even have to stop this stream, but you can also go search for SQL Saturday Oslo and go join in on the GoToWebinar there. But I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that y'all can actually watch along. So 5-minute bio break where I'm going to go off and do a bio break and get water and all that for the session that we're about to do. And then it's time to do Watch Brent Tune Queries. So I will see y'all back in here shortly. I'll put the pause up, and then after the pause, I'll let y'all listen to me struggling along with GoToWebinar. See you in a few.